right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Sportsmen. As always, Mikey V, as always, Joey, Peter DeMar, myself, the big ticket. Gentlemen, let's get into it right away. Actually, I have a bone to pick with Joseph before we get into things. We had made plans to go to the Stanley Cup together. If Florida was in it, we were going to go together. And then this guy hits me up this morning. He goes, I couldn't pass it up. And now he's going with his girlfriend, and he's not taking me or his wife.
For starters, it's my wife. And secondly,
I corrected
you're going to be out of town. You're going to be in Philadelphia. How am I going to take you?
Not the point. The point is we were supposed to go together. That's the point, and the only point.
By the way, the tickets were not cheap.
Yeah, you made sure to tell me that too. Yeah.
No, I'm saying that now because it's not like
Joe, it's a Stanley Cup Finals. Everyone knows the tickets aren't cheap.
I'm just saying, listen, if Ticket was in town, I would have absolutely asked him to go, but he told me he was going to be in Philadelphia. I had that information privy. And by the way, I'm only actually going because I have to stay near Fort Lauderdale on the night of the 10th. And I looked at the schedule. It just so happens that there is a game on the 10th because I have to leave on the following morning, early morning from Miami Airport. So it made sense for me to stay there. So naturally I got a room at the Seminole and, then I saw that there was a game and, I mean, it's because it's a cup. I mean, it's only once in a while you get a chance to watch Stanley Cup game. Now, Tick, if it goes to game 7 or game 5 is all we need. I would run it back with you.
Okay. It's going to be more expensive than game. What are you going to, game 2 or game 1?
Game 2.
Okay.
On Monday night.
How much was a ticket, if you don't mind me asking?
I got section 300, so keep in mind, not even that great.
Okay.
And I got on SeatGeek, God bless SeatGeek, but after the fees and everything they charge, it turned out to be $1,300 for 2 tickets.
Oh, for 2. Okay.
That's for 2 tickets.
That's very expensive.
Here's my justification is that the Seminole Hotel was complimentary. So that was part of it. And I also know I'm going to destroy the craps table. So that's the other part of it. So, it's a 2-pronged effect there that helped me make that decision that, ultimately all the money will be returned into my pockets.
Yeah. Every time I'm going to the airport, I got to go to a Stanley Cup game too. I mean, I'm already there. I'm already there.
Oh, that was good. That was good. That was good. That was good.
I can't believe I'm getting shots. The show hasn't been on 5 minutes.
I didn't say, but that was funny. That was funny.
The other day, a really dumb show. First 4 minutes in, I didn't even say a word. Mikey came at me. Like, I guess I'm just getting under people's skin.
I don't think it was a shot. I think it was just.
It's easier. It's easier to take shots when you're late. It's easier. I feel like I can take it.
We initially had said 8:30. So you know what?
Did we?
Yeah, Mikey's.
I said it had to be after 8.
Said after 8.
After 8, yeah.
Well, normally our given time is 8:30. So naturally, after 8 and 8:30 is our normal time. I just came to think that
reality is not there sometimes, or you're just bending it on purpose, making these wild rationalizations. Our time has always been 8, not 8:30.
No,
it's always been 8.
Mikey,
it's been 8.
What? Keep me out of this.
Mikey,
is our time 8
what
normally?
Time do we normally film The Sportsman?
Honestly, it depends. I feel like we change the time every fucking week. I feel like the time's different, and the day and the time.
Escape. That's
I'm being dead serious. I think we change it. I will say this: it's always between 8 and 9. Always between
8:30.
No, any time in between 8. It could be 8. It could be 8:15. You motherfucker!
Wow.
That's a joke. That's out of love.
Yeah,
he knows.
Always is.
He knows.
Yeah, it always is.
I can't get past the shirt too. I'm trying to get into the Stanley Cup Finals here.
It's sick, bro.
The shirt is unbelievable.
You like it or you don't like it?
Great shirt.
It's nothing I could wear, but I like it on you.
It's a vacation shirt. When you wear a shirt, I'm telling you, Joe, when you wear a shirt like that on a Wednesday night, you're telling everyone that you're on vacation all the time. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if that's sure. If it does.
Joe, you don't wear a shirt like that if you're like a normal guy on a Wednesday that's got to go punch the clock at 5 a.m.
It's subtle though. It's black. It's not like
it's a beautiful. I would wear that shirt. Is what I'm telling you.
Okay,
but I would wear that shirt like on a Saturday or Sunday's even pushing it because I don't know, because Sunday scaries, you're worried about Monday. That's a Saturday, Friday night shirt in the summer with a bullet for me. I mean, I like, is that Sir Tommy Bahama or who is that?
It's Travis Matthew, actually.
Wow.
When you're Italian and you move to Florida, that's the shirt they give you. That's the issued shirt for Italians in Florida.
It's like when you enlist in the army and they give you,
exactly.
Right,
you get dog tags. Yeah, you get that
shirt. Oh man.
All right. Let's get into Stanley Cup Finals. Oilers, Panthers. Guys, what do we think? Who do we like?
I will start off by saying that this Oilers team has gone further than I thought I thought whoever won that Canucks and Oilers series would get decimated by Dallas. I thought Stuart Skinner was not good enough of a goalie for them to move past, but you know what? As per usual, I was wrong. And you know what? I have to give credit where credit's due. Actually, the last couple games, Skinner's actually played very good hockey. And I mean, if you look at the shots on goal in the last game that the Oilers won, they had the lowest shots, I think, the Oilers, with 10 shots of any winning Stanley Cup playoff team in a game. Unbelievable. And on the other side, Dallas peppered Edmonton with 35 shots, and Skinner was up to the task. So listen, I think it comes down to me about how good is Skinner going to play? Because if he can play like the one version that he's shown, I think the Oilers can win the Stanley Cup. If he plays like he did for long stretches of that Canucks series, I think that the Oilers are going to get absolutely blown out. I do think the Panthers are a better team from top to bottom. I think their goaltending is better. I think for the most part, their defense core is better. And their forwards, I mean, you can't really put them at better than McDavid and Draisaitl, but I think they're more deep in the sense that they've got three very, very good lines. So I would say Florida is the team to beat in this series. I mean, they're favored, I think, minus 130 to win the series, which is really not a lot. But I do think that they're the better team, and I think they'll ultimately win. But I think the big question mark is what kind of goaltending will the Oilers get? And I think that dictates ultimately the entire series.
Mikey?
Yeah, I like Dallas going into the semifinal or the conference final, I should say.
Yeah.
I like Dallas going into the conference final. And like Joe said, the discrepancy in shots on goal those last couple games, like if you looked at the stat line in the top left corner where they keep the time and the score, it was like at one point during the last game I was looking at it, and Dallas was out shooting them like it was like 30-8 or something crazy. The discrepancy was nuts. It was crazy. Skinner's been playing on his head. And that was the problem in the Vancouver series, I thought. And before that was like Edmonton, everyone knows Edmonton could score. McDavid, like they could score, just a matter of they just give up goals. Now in the postseason, they're letting up a little more than 2.5 goals a game. Meanwhile, Florida's only allowing, a little over 2 goals a game. Second least out of all the teams in the postseason, Florida, but the other team's been out for a while, Nashville, but I don't know. Listen, to me, I think Edmonton's the hotter team. I understand what Florida did to the Rangers, but the Rangers really the Rangers couldn't manufacture anything outside of Shesterkin being an absolute fucking monster and goal, stopping everything. He was unbelievable. Like Zibanejad and these other guys, they weren't enough. And Panarin, they couldn't manufacture anything. So a lot of people I know saying that Florida is such a good team, and I don't know enough about it to dispute that. And I know they made a good run the previous year. But I still think Edmonton's the hottest team. And I'm going to go with the hot hand in Skinner, and I'm going to go with Edmonton to beat Florida. And I think they'll beat them in 6 games. Yeah. That would be my prediction.
Why 6?
I don't know. I just don't think it'll go the distance. I think Edmonton, I don't know, man. I feel like something got flipped, like a switch got flipped in that Canucks series, because like Joe, I thought they were going to get steamrolled by Dallas. I really thought Dallas was just, and it was kind of the opposite. Like they kind of just dominated them. Like maybe they didn't dominate them in the sense of, like Joe was saying, shots on goal and things like that, but Like, to me, it was just like they were in the driver's seat. They looked like they were in control the whole time. Even the one game where Dallas went up 2-0 early, I think, and Edmonton just blew the doors off. After that, it was like Dallas just kind of went to sleep and Edmonton like got woken up.
McDavid
and
had
I
a
don't
good
know.
series, which he hadn't had up until then. The Canucks series, I mean, he was okay, but Draisaitl was their best player, and Hyman has been unbelievable all playoffs. But this last series, McDavid started making plays like that one goal that he had in
Last
game
game.
6. I mean, that's
Yeah,
highlight
yeah.
reel material. When he's doing stuff like that, you know he's comfortable, and that is, I mean, that is dangerous. And you get him on a power play with Draisaitl, with Bouchard on the point, with Hyman just causing chaos in front of the goal. That is a recipe for success. Nugent Hopkins play well. So they got a lot of good players, to Mikey's point, and they look really good. I would say, though, Florida was in the Stanley Cup last year, and that playoff experience goes a long way. They've been there before. They know what it takes. It's not their first time. Edmonton, do they have a little bit of jitters? I don't know. And to Mikey, your point, you know, you take the hot team, you know, and I don't disagree with that. I could easily see the Oilers winning. I'm going to go Florida in 5. I think Florida wins the first 2 pretty convincingly. I think they split back in Edmonton, and then I think it goes back and I just think Bobrovsky is going to have a good series. I think this Panthers team is legit. And you look at how much depth they have between Barkov, Verhaeghe, and Bennett, and then Reinhart. I mean, they got players on the point, Montour, and they got defensive players like Forsling and Ekman Larson, like guys who can play well top to bottom. And I think Paul Maurice is a very, very good coach. I really think that they're the better equipped team in this situation. But like you said, Mikey, if the Oilers come out and steal a game early, it makes Florida think about things, and this whole series could be a completely different story. So
I think Florida's got to impose their physical will. I think they got to try and bully Edmonton. I think that's the recipe maybe to beat Edmonton, is to get very physical with those guys, especially McDavid. And I just, you know, Florida,
do so without taking penalties, though.
Right. And that was the kind of the thing with the Rangers. Like, the Rangers were a physical team, but Florida kind of outbullied them. At least that's the vibe that I was getting from all, you know, the sports talk in the morning, all the Rangers fans calling in saying that, you know, why are they not hitting these guys back? And Florida kind of imposed their will. So if Florida does that early, that kind of could be the one thing I think could swing it maybe. But yeah, I mean, listen, Dallas was my pick to win the whole thing. The way Edmonton looked against them, that's why I'm going to roll with Edmonton. If that had not happened, maybe I'd give Florida a chance, but I'll stick with the Oilers.
Tick, who do you like? You're a hockey guy. What does the litmus test say for you?
I think that Florida is the more complete team. I think that they're gonna win fairly easily. I think it'll be a 5-game kind of thing.
Really?
Wow.
Really?
I do. I think they're such a better team, and I think all year they've been showing us that. And it's like, I'm not going to go against it now. Edmonton just can't play defense, and if they don't score you out of the gym, then they're fucked.
And I mean, these games since the conference finals have been under games, both sides, like very much under contests, under 5 goals a game, under 6 goals a game, both sides, Eastern and Western. So, I think, but Joe, the first thing Joe said is the thing that this guy Skinner, who it looked like he wasn't going to have the kind of run he's had in the playoffs, kind of like all of a sudden this guy, all you hear is Skinner, what a save, Skinner, save, Skinner. So I think it's kind of going to be a lot is going to be on him as well, because like Joe said, in that last series against Dallas, he was weathering the storm, and maybe that's, you know, their recipe.
Sometimes when you have such a low bar of expectation, there's really nothing to lose, because if you play badly, people aren't expecting you to play well. Keep in mind the Canucks series, he was so clearly not on his game. They pulled him for 2 games and put their backup Pickard in, who I thought was actually the better goalie for the 2 games that he played. And then when they put him back in, I was actually quite surprised that they went back to him. But maybe that gave him enough confidence, and now he's just like, listen, nobody expects me to do much anyways. I might as well just fucking do my thing and stay in my lane, and that's what he's doing. So I mean, it's very interesting, but I do think the Rangers, keep in mind, were the President's Cup winners. They were a very good team, and they looked so out of place against Florida. Florida was just, they would have periods where stretches where they'd be in the Rangers zone for like over a minute and a half at a time, just dominating. And like you said, Mikey, Shesterkin was unbelievable, and they still handled them pretty well. So
They did.
Skinner,
They did.
if he can't play well early, it could be, you might be seeing a lot of over games if that's the case, because there might be a lot of goals being scored.
That's interesting. That's good to store in the memory bank.
How many games do you think it's going to go, Joe?
I said 5.
I
think,
yeah, me too.
I think Florida's going to win the first 2 games pretty. I think I'm not saying they'll be blowouts, but I think they'll win them pretty convincingly. And then I think Edmonton will win 1 at home, but I think Florida's a good road team too. So I think they could steal 1 in Edmonton and go back and finish it off at home. I really do think maybe 6 tops. I don't think there's a way that this series goes to 7 though.
It's a good point you made about the no pressure thing, and people usually perform better under those circumstances. I certainly have. When I was in high school, I knew I wasn't going to get this part in a play. I was like, this other guy's way better, and so I had no expectations. Did the audition, and I rocked it, and I got the part, and that was unfortunate because then it was Bye Bye Birdie. Do you remember that?
Sure.
It was one of the characters in there. Yeah, I could not remember the name of it.
Tick's got it in him, man. He's had it since day
one.
I
never I never did another play again because I shouldn't have gotten that part.
He pulled the Costanza. He left out on top.
On the high note. On the high note. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. But it's true though. When you got no pressure on you, I mean, it's interesting what you can do. Moving on here. Mikey, I know you probably talked about this on the Brilliantly Dumb show, but you were at UFC 302. Why don't you walk us through that experience a little bit and talk us through some of these fights?
Obviously, first class experience, thanks to, Bob and his connections with Dana. And, seats were, unless you were sitting in the row that Dana White and Trump were sitting in, the first row, I mean, the seats were better than sitting right on the floor because, the floor, it's got 4 rows of chairs. And then if you're in that 4th row, you have a good view, but it's not like we were a perch above that last row. So you had nothing in front of you but the octagon, literally, and you were 20 feet from it. So, I mean, it was great views. The card was
great.
It wasn't the greatest UFC card ever, but honestly, the energy in the building was so good. The main event, Poirier showed a lot of heart, not allowing Islam to just take the fight completely to the mat all the time. The crowd was going nuts every time Poirier was able to get him off of him and off the mat and exchanged a little bit with him, standing toe to toe. The Kevin Holland fight was wild when he broke the guy's arm. I mean, that was brutal. But yeah, I mean, all in all, the experience was incredible. Obviously meeting, several of, athletes and things like that was great. A lot of fun. The energy was great. If you've never been to a UFC event, I'd highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun. And I would say, like somebody was saying something about, the tickets are really expensive. I could only afford the upper deck. I would sit anywhere for a UFC event. I would. It's got that energy to it where I think there's really not a bad spot anywhere for an event like that because of the crowd energy. It's really, really like the people who go are very, very much into it. And that makes it that much more fun.
I will say I was never a huge UFC guy for a long time, and then Bob started getting into it because of his dad. And I was just like, I don't know what the allure is, it looks all right, but you go to one of those events and you sit there and you watch what these guys are going through.
Yeah.
And I felt sick to my stomach at certain times when I'm watching some of these guys, and it's like, oh my God. And the level of respect that you end up having for these guys, like, that's their job, just to get in to a ring like a fucking animal and just deal with the guy on the other side of you who's trying to literally fucking knock your ass out. It's intense, man. It's more intense than boxing. It's more intense than anything else I've really ever seen. And the good thing about it, and the exciting thing about it is, like, you saw it in the Kevin Holland fight. You could have a guy, especially when you bet, it makes it so fun. You could have a guy who's seconds away from getting knocked out to all of a sudden one flip of the switch, and then all of a sudden he's got a guy in an arm bar breaking his arm. It's just, there's never a moment that's dull because you know how skilled these guys are, how athletic they are, how it's just like you're always on edge watching. And when you bet on it, I really don't think there's much things I enjoy betting on more. Now I'm still cautious of how I don't bet a lot on UFC because I don't know enough, but it's fun, man, and it's really enjoyable.
Even if you know enough, though, like, you know, it's tough because the favorites are so juiced out of their minds, and to bet like round props is very, very difficult because
very tough.
You're throwing shit against the wall and hoping that it sticks. Like UFC is one of the tougher sports to handicap only because, you know, if a fight goes to a decision, some of these decisions in UFC, we've talked about this ad nauseum, like the judges, the discrepancy in scores on the judges' cards sometimes is just like mind boggling. Like people go crazy over that. So yeah, you got to be cautious when betting it, but it is, I mean, it's a lot of fun.
It is the most fun you can have betting, dude. Yeah. When you bet the rounds, that is, I mean, like you said, it's extremely difficult, but when you hit one of those, it's like you've hit the first bet in your entire life.
Yeah, it's great.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. I don't make any of the picks though. I go with whatever Bob's dad says. Is that what you were doing?
I had some stuff from my buddy who always gives me UFC picks. We did really well though. But you know what? The Champions League final was like I went crazy on that game and hit
the fact that you had like minus 1.5 under 3.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I didn't have that. I had Real in regulation under 3.5 in a parlay. And then I also had under 2.5 as a straight bet just for the game itself. And both came in, and that was like
I thought you had parlayed both of those.
No, I parlayed the Real in regulation with under 3.5. I parlayed that, so that was plus money, and then under 2.5 was also plus money. So I hit both of those. So after I did that, like UFC, I hit the first two prelim fights that I parlayed, and then once I did that, like, Mr. Berger kept giving me like play after play, and I was doing them, but for very small. I cashed out most of my stuff after the Real.
Once you have a big win like that, there's no need to keep going to the
No, dude, because if I had done that, I would have lost everything back. Like, I just know how I am with UFC. Like, I'll just start doing stupid shit. So it's like I'd rather just walk away.
I do think if you have those big heavy favorites like minus 400 or whatever, if you parlay a few of them and then take a dog in there as well, so you have like a 4 or 5 teamer with like 2 or 3 big fucking heavy favorites and then 1 or 2 dogs, that's your best bet where you can actually cash out and make a whole bundle. That's the funnest thing. And even there too, if you get through the first 2-3 fights, then it gets really fun because then you can have a lot of fun with it, and you don't even need to spend too much, especially if you're putting a 5-teamer. I mean, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, the UFC is like, it's weird because some of these cards you get, like, all those favorites all come in and they just all cash. The heavy favorites all cash, and then, you know, you get a card where 1 or 2 of those big favorites loses, and then it just, if you go with that approach, you get broken because it just will spoil everything. But all in all, yeah, crazy experience, great experience. Definitely will go back to another one. It was great.
Was Mikey, that your first time meeting Bob's dad? Had you met him before?
Not in person.
Yeah.
Only on the phone. Yeah.
Wow. So, character, right? Great guy.
Great guy. Funny.
Did he have the loose leaf piece of paper with all his bets on it?
I think he did in his pocket. Yeah, I think he pulled it out a couple times. He was on the phone at lunch, handling some Jupiter Jackals business. Like, it's the playoffs coming up, and apparently some guy on the other team got hurt, and the team tried to bring in like a ringer from another team in the league, and he's the best player. So Mr. Berger was outside for like Mr. Berger was outside for like a good solid 20 minutes, pacing around the streets in Newark outside. I almost wanted to tell him, like, Mr. Berger, this is Newark. You got to come back inside. Like, you don't want to be walking around Newark too much. You know what I'm saying?
The apple never falls far from the tree.
So
little pace job.
True.
It was great.
The politics involved in that senior softball league is insane.
Wild. Yeah.
I mean, it's exhausting.
That's something. Yeah, you don't want to get involved with that. Like, you just want to go out and play. You don't want to be involved in like the decision making. This episode of The Sportsman is brought to you by BetterHelp. Guys, this year has gone so quickly. What's something you're proud of in 2024 so far? What's something you still want to accomplish this year? When life goes so fast, it's important to take a moment to celebrate your wins and make adjustments for the rest of the year. Therapy can help you take stock of your progress and set achievable goals for the next 6 months. Therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. Therapy is also great for picking up good ways to deal with stuff and learning how to set boundaries. It's all about making you feel like you're on top of your game, not just for folks who have been through a lot of tough stuff. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule, which, let's face it, we all have busy schedules. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist that best fits you. And if you ever need to, you could switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/sportsman today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/sportsman.
All right, let's move on. I guess we got to talk about it. Let's go to the NBA. Mavericks, Celtics. Gentlemen, what do we think?
Listen, Celtics, been riding the Celtics the whole way before the postseason. It's a chalky play. They were the favorite going in. They were the favorite before the playoffs started. So, it's tough to go against Boston, but I'll say this is that this Mavericks team, man, this backcourt of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Wow. I mean, I heard somebody say the other night on TNT or whatever, whatever channel the game was on, that they thought that this was the best backcourt in NBA history in terms of scoring ability, the best scoring ability backcourt that they'd ever seen. Now, I don't know if I agree with that, but I will say that, like, they are playing at such a level where it is ridiculous. And you can't say like they were going up against a cup, like the Timberwolves defense was the best in the NBA. I mean, they allowed the fewest points in the NBA all season, the Timberwolves. So that defense was a legitimate defense that they played against. The Nuggets, the Nuggets played the Timberwolves. The Celtics also with a good defense, but in terms of scoring the basketball, I mean, if you watch Luka right now, this guy is just he's on another planet the way he's playing. He's jacking up these shots, and Kyrie, when Kyrie is focused and he's actually contributing, he is such a dangerous player, man. Like, I don't think people give him enough credit because of how much bullshit he also brings with him. But, Tatum and Brown against Kyrie and Luka, I think it's a great matchup. But, again, a gun to my head, I'm going to still roll with Boston because I've been saying Boston the whole time. But, man, I think the Mavericks are going to make it interesting because, again,
Porzingis going to be playing?
Yeah, I think he should be. He should be back by now because that injury happened when? That happened in the first series of the playoffs,
the Milwaukee series,
like the first game or two.
He wasn't playing in the.
I thought he wasn't.
Yeah, but I think maybe they held him out intentionally in that Pacers series because that wasn't. What did they sweep? I think they swept. Right? Did they give up one game? I think they swept. One game.
They swept.
Yeah, they swept. So I mean, yeah, I think.
Oh, he will. He confirmed he will play.
Yeah.
It's 6 hours ago. He had in a press conference. He confirmed he will play Game 1 of NBA Finals.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that could be big for them. Again, Dallas is just like, are those two guys going to be able to continue to do what they did against the Timberwolves versus this Celtics team? I don't know, and I don't know if it'll be enough. But again, they were able to, when they had to, shut down Anthony Edwards, who, looked like Superman leading up until, of course, he got his at times when he needed to. But I do think for the majority, when it came to having to shut him down, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Now you got to worry about Tatum and Brown, 15th and 16th in the NBA and scoring in the postseason, or 14th and 15th, something like that.
I mean, if Porzingis is playing though, then you got Drew Holiday playing. I mean, even Horford puts in some good. I mean, they have a well-rounded lineup.
They do, now, and that's why I'm saying the Celtics still. But
yeah, everything you said, Mikey, I agree with. I think the big question mark for me, we talked about NHL. I think there's always like a specific thing to watch in a series, especially in a championship series. To me, is how are the big guys for Dallas going to play? This Derek Lively has looked unbelievable so far. They have that Daniel Gafford too. Those are two big presence players. If they can establish themselves and they can hold Porzingis and they can play good defense and they can get down low and score points down low, that forces Boston to give some kind of, a little bit of respect to the and that might open a little bit up more for guys like Luka and Kyrie. If they're getting bullied down low, if they're not doing anything, then that means Boston can put all their pressure on that outside perimeter game, and just I think it changes a lot. So to me, I would watch that a lot. I think obviously Luka and Kyrie are the two guys you're going to watch and who are going to be the most impactful. But I think everybody plays a role. And I think those two bigs from Dallas, if they play well, that could change the tides. That could kind of open some things up, because I think Luka's going to get doubled for most of it. So someone's going to be left open, and who's going to take advantage? That's the big question mark. I do think Dallas is playing very hot basketball right now.
They are. And
So
PJ Washington, I think they need him to give a little bit more and shoot a little bit. I thought he came on a little bit in the last game. If they could get contributions for him, and like you said, Joe, from their bigs, that's the only way, because Boston is a well-oiled machine. Like they are. They dispatched the Indiana Pacers like they were nonsense. And listen, I know people were kind of like, well, the Pacers, took out a decimated Knicks team that were like the Walking Dead, and it took them a while to do it. The Knicks put up a hell of a fight against Indiana, all things considered. But here's the thing. I just think that, is the pressure going to get to Boston? Because Boston was supposed to be here yet again, and here they are yet again. And they were supposed to maybe win it last year. They were a favorite last year. They were favorites, heavy favorites this year. Like, is that pressure going to get to them, or have they finally reached a point where they've got enough experience, they've seen enough, they've done enough to get over the hump? Meanwhile, Dallas is a 5 seed, and I don't think anybody saw Dallas making a run like this, and they have, and here they are with the opportunity to beat who I think is the consensus number 1 team going in. And I think it's going to be interesting, man. I think the Mavericks are going to make it interesting. I really do. I'd know why.
Boston in 6.
Yeah.
That's what
I think it could go 7. I think it's going 7.
I think it goes 7 too.
You think
bro.
so, Tick?
I do.
I think so.
I think so too.
Do you like Dallas, Tick?
I like Dallas.
Wow.
Whoa, this guy.
All right, Tick. See, I'm going to take Boston in 7 just because I had him, but I'm telling
That's
you, man,
the play.
I think Dallas is going to be sneaky, man. I really do. That backcourt.
It does feel like it's Boston's turn. I mean, I will admit that it does have that feeling to it. And I think smart money would probably go in that direction. But like you just said, Mikey, there's something about this Dallas team. They're pesky, man.
Jason Kidd's a good coach too. He doesn't get enough credit.
I love Jason
Kidd. Yeah, me too.
Do you think Kyrie's it's got to be a little personal for Kyrie too? You got to think he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. He's looking better than I've seen him.
Portnoy is going to be courtside chirping his fucking ear off Kyrie. He already publicly stated it, basically. Like, he's coming for Kyrie's neck. Yeah.
Oh, we might have like a Spike Lee, Reggie Miller situation.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be like. And, I think that Kyrie's the kind of guy that, like, he loves that shit. Like, I think he eats that up. Like, he's going to want. I think he's, don't get me wrong, Tick. I think he's a little crazy. Don't get me wrong. But I just think in this particular situation, as far as they've made it now, I think he's completely focused and bought in. And that may change after this offseason. And that may change if they lose this series and they end up losing in the finals. And maybe next year he goes off into fantasy land again. But I'm saying in the moment right now, it just seems to me like him and Luka are just on a mission. They're just on a mission. And I don't know. I'll say this, Boston is a more local team to me, certainly, than Dallas is. And I just found the Dallas games of late to be so much more interesting to watch. Like, I just find they're just a more interesting watch to me than Boston is. I don't know. Maybe
Boston's
I'm crazy
a fun
saying
watch,
that.
though. Tatum is fun to watch. Brown is fun to watch.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not. So let me rephrase that. I just think that what Dallas has done, and I thought that obviously that Indiana series was not a good series for entertainment purposes. I thought the Dallas-Minnesota series was not very. No, but it was fun though. I thought it was fun. I really did. I really did. I was curious to see what Anthony Edwards was doing. I had more intrigue. Let me put it that way. I had more intrigue in that series.
I'd like Luka to win a championship. I think he's he's as good as advertised. He's been
I'd like to
as
see
good as
Kidd win the title too.
yeah. I mean, listen, I
would.
think
I really would.
here's the thing is I think Boston's going to be around for a while. I mean, with that lineup and that collection, I mean, their starting five is better than almost anyone in the league. And I think that they're going to be there for a while, but I think Dallas, it might be a situation, you know, where they're just, the moment is there and they might not get another moment like that for a while, especially knowing how good the West is. They might just buckle down and say, this is our chance. We can't let it go past us. So I hope it's good basketball. Normally finals in the NBA are good because it's the collection of the two best teams, and the rest of the playoffs are normally not as good, and the two teams meet in the finals, and it's pretty solid basketball. So that's all I hope. I hope we get an enjoyable watch, but Tick, you're going Dallas, eh?
I'm going
I like
Dallas,
that.
and similar to what Mikey said earlier, I mean, this Kyrie he's a kook, man. I mean, he thinks the world's flat. But
he's nuts,
so you got to capitalize when he's locked in like this, because
Yeah.
as Mikey said earlier, I mean, this guy could come back next season and you don't know what you're going to get, man.
That's
so
right.
while
That's
he's
right.
playing like this and as locked in as he is, you if you're Dallas, you got to think you got to get something out of it.
They cashed in on getting him at the deal at the bargain price.
They
that
did.
got him.
They did. It certainly looks good right now. And again, you know, just they are, you know, if him and Luka are going to drop 30 each every game of this series, as good as Tatum and Brown are, and they could probably match him. They probably could match. I don't know. Something about Dallas, man. I just makes me wonder. But yes, I will still take Boston in 7.
Is Cuban still showing up to those games and acting like a madman?
Cubes is there, dog.
He is?
He's always there.
he's
Yeah.
always
Okay.
there.
Back in the day, dude. You
In
remember
person or
would
spirit.
just-
Yeah.
Oh,
he would
he's
go
toned
nuts.
it down. He's
Yes,
toned it down.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yo, he was
That was
yelling
great,
he was
though.
yelling at officials and shit back in the day.
Yeah, it was hot.
Yeah.
I
I've got
think
a lot of Shark Tank episodes to prep for now.
True,
He does, you know.
true.
Yeah. At some, you know, something about that show. At some point, don't you think you've taken on too many businesses to pay attention to any one of them? I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah.
How can you continue to invest in businesses and feel like you can
You're giving it your all.
Yeah, you're giving it your all.
Yeah.
I simply don't understand that.
No.
All right, let's move on here. Justin Jefferson signs a record-breaking deal, resets the market. A lot going on. I think Christian McCaffrey signed. I think Nick Bosa signed. A lot of these guys getting the fucking bag. Gentlemen, what do we think about this?
Did Bosa sign an extension?
Did he?
I don't know. I know McCaffrey,
I thought he did.
19 million a year for McCaffrey,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then
35 a year for Justin.
JJ, 35 a year, 110 guaranteed over 4. I mean, listen, we talk about this every show whenever one of these top flight guys at a different position resets the market. That's the NFL. The salary cap goes up. The best player at their position who's due for a new contract extension resets the market. That's going to be every single year until, I don't know, the league goes belly up, which hopefully never happens. But I just think this is business as usual. There was no way Minnesota wasn't going to pay this guy. You can't, because the wide receiver position now is what the running back position was 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It has become that. Like, running backs just don't get paid. McCaffrey is an exception to the rule because of everything he brings to the table.
Essentially a receiver as well.
Exactly right. And he is the best at his position, and the margin's pretty significant, I would say. But JJ is, you know, he's arguably the best at his position. And again, Minnesota, knowing that they got Addison on the rookie deal still, knowing they just brought in a new quarterback in JJ McCarthy, knowing that they just acquired TJ Hawkinson but a year ago, they are in a position now where they could probably compete in the division a little bit more. I don't
pretty good running back of their own with Aaron Jones from free agency too.
They do. It's just a matter of, is the quarterback position going to work out for them, and is their defense going to be better? Now, the defense certainly got better under Flores last year. Much better than it was the year prior. They were a total mess. And at the beginning of the year last year, they were a little shaky, and then they really came on strong. So if the defense plays well, it's going to be all on the quarterback. Darnold or JJ McCarthy, they're going to have plenty of weapons at their disposal, Minnesota. And it was one of those things where Ticket, you know as well as I do, the fan base would have went fucking ballistic
no way
if they
could have
let this
traded
guy
him.
walk out the door or if they traded him. So all that talk, that was all nonsense. There was no way he was going to go anywhere.
That's
But
what
if
we
you're
said on
Justin
the-
Jefferson, wouldn't you, like, if you were him, wouldn't you consider like, nah, I gotta get out of here? Or do you just take the money right
Yeah,
now?
I mean, he reset the market. You know, he can't, you know.
He's
what are
the
you gonna do?
highest
What are you gonna do?
paid non-quarterback player in the league.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
That's pretty nice, man. That's pretty
and
nice.
and you know
Nice.
what? And you know
There's
what?
a price, and that
that'll-
price is living in Minnesota.
That'll be for a year, and then there will be a new non-quarterback getting paid the most money
Yeah.
in the NFL. That's just the way it works. But yeah, for him, I don't know, Tick, like getting out of there. I don't know what the dynamic with him and Cousins was. I don't know, like, I don't know if he's one of those guys who's truly is, you know, if he's just gesturing or posturing to just get more money, and he did, as opposed to really having a desire to get out of there so much. So, you know, it's a great.
I guess you take a
it's
gamble
great
too,
deal
coming
for
off
him.
that ACL too. That'd be a big gamble.
Well, he
on
looked pretty
himself,
good when
too.
he came back.
He did. But I mean,
Yeah.
anytime you do that's a little frightening. You want to
I
make sure
will
you get that
say,
money.
Listen, the bottom
You-
line is, like, when you sign a deal like that, you know, the fan expectation is like he's going to play like the best wide receiver and produce the best wide receiver numbers in the league. The issue I have with that, and the uncertainty and the unease I would feel if I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan right now,
New
is
quarterback.
that the quarterback is not Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is say what you will about him, but he's a reliable, number producing, wide receiver friendly quarterback. You don't know what JJ McCarthy is going to do. And you can't tell me that you do know, because you would be lying, because he was not in a pass heavy system at Michigan. In fact, he was in the complete total opposite, where they looked to avoid throwing the football at all costs, because all Harbaugh wanted to do was run the ball.
Well, he had
Now-
arguably the best running back in college football.
Yeah.
Karam, he's all right. But
Oh
he's
my
all
God.
right. He's all right, Joe. I think he's all right. Anyway, the point
If
is,
he went to Ohio State, he would have been great.
Oh, you would
Yeah,
have been
well,
All-American in Mikey's eyes.
he didn't. No, All-American. If you're All-American, you're All-American on paper. You're not All-American. But that being said, again, I don't know if it's going to be Darnold, if it's going to be McCarthy, but either way, that would be the only thing as a Vikings fan that I would try to remember. Like,
Mikey,
listen, you want the production out of Jefferson. Is he absolutely quarterback proof? We will see. And I think he is. I
almost think too, they're doing this. If you look on the other side of it, this helps McCarthy out a lot, right? When you have a guy, when you have a guy who's like you're saying, how is McCarthy going to play for Jefferson? But
No,
having
you're right,
Jefferson
of
there,
course.
when you have a guy who can legitimately go up against a double team and go up and get a ball that's just not even necessarily thrown great, that is a huge advantage for a young rookie quarterback who's coming in, you know, with a lot of success in college. But like you said, Mikey, he knew his role and he played within it.
Yes.
So now his role is going to definitely have to increase in order for this team to be successful on the offensive side of the ball, you know. And I think that having the best wide receiver, aside from maybe, I mean, some
He's
people
the
might
best.
say Jamar.
He's the
Jamar
best.
Chase is up there, but
I think Jefferson, in my opinion, is the best. Jamar Chase is there. Tyreek Hill is there, but I do think Jefferson is the best.
I would agree with you. But I'm saying having that as a security blanket, you have arguably a top 5 tight end without question in Hawkinson.
Yeah, Hawkinson's great.
And now Addison, by the way, looked unbelievable in the absence of. So I mean, I think he's got targets. I think he can play well. But this is what you said is exactly right. It's going to make it very interesting to see how he does. It's
the same thing the Bears are trying to do with Caleb Williams, and it's the smart move to make. The Bears with Caleb Williams are giving him Keenan Allen. They didn't have to go get Keenan Allen. They went and got Keenan Allen. They didn't have to go and get Gerald Everett. They went and got Gerald Everett to be a legitimate 2 tight end. They didn't have to go get DeAndre Swift from the Eagles. They had running backs. They went and got DeAndre Swift. They didn't have to draft Rome Odunze at 9. They could have drafted somebody else. They drafted another wide receiver to try and help this kid. So that is the right move. When you have a brand new quarterback, you cannot put them in the position that the Bears put Justin Fields in when he came in, when his best wide receiver was Darnell Mooney. You can't do that to a kid and expect them to thrive against NFL defenses. And remember, J.J. McCarthy's going to play in a division now where you have the Lions, who score a ton of points, and Jared Goff's the quarterback, with the Packers, who looked like Jordan Love was a top 5 quarterback by the time the season ended and made a run in the playoffs, and they were scoring points, and a Bears offense that on paper looks like one of the best offenses in football. So you have to be able to keep up with the scoring there. So again, the JJ signing was an absolute no-brainer, slam dunk, had to do it. The money is what it is. Every time one of these guys signs a huge deal, people go in an uproar because he's not worth it. He's not worth it. It's all relative. What is it worth? It's not worth anything because the market's just going to reset again next year and the salary cap's just going to go up again next year. So all these deals are just relative to the times. Like Mahomes' deal right now looks like a bad deal. All things considered, what he's done since, but at the time when he signed it, 10 years, $500 million, everyone's mind was blown. But now if he signed that deal, people would be like, what is he, nuts? He should get paid $1 billion. Guy wins the Super Bowl every fucking other year. You know what I mean? So it's all relative to the times. It's all relative to the times.
It's true. All right, guys, let's move on here. Did you guys see this MLB sports betting thing where the guy...
Yeah,
no,
he only hit 4% of his bets. That's a shame.
There were 4 players, one main guy who played for the Padres. I think he was a shortstop, maybe.
What a surprise! The team I hate most in Major Leagues.
True. That's true.
They were betting on
now,
baseball.
are they?
Though. They were betting on
there it is. I knew something was a loop because this team just found a way to win games they had no business winning and lose games that they should have won. Was this past year?
I believe it was going on this year as well.
He was hurt. I think he was hurt, and he was betting on his team while he was hurt, which is still, you can't.
Was he betting on his team?
Yes.
He was. Okay.
Yes. And he only hit, Joe, 4% of his bets, and he made they said 500 something wagers and only hit 4% of his wagers.
Sounds like me.
Tucupita Marcano.
That's right. And there was a number of these guys. He wasn't just the only one, but it's also kind of like
231 MLB related bets, 4.3% winners. Guys should subscribe to Only Subs. We're hitting at a much better rate than that.
They didn't need to bang him with that. He's already banned from baseball for life. They didn't need to put out his winning percentage. I mean, the guy's going
that was tough. It's just like, by the way, not only was he an illegal gambler, he was a real shitty one on top of it. That's just kicking the guy when he's down, man. Just let the guy go. Some guys just
stink, man. Some guys just stink.
It also feels illegal to me, or just wrong, that these sportsbook apps are sharing that information. You'd think that would be somewhat private, but they're sharing it with the MLB.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
He was in violation of conduct, so.
Not with the sportsbook, though. He did nothing illegal with the sportsbook. It's just what you're allowed to do with baseball, and the fact that they're sharing that information it just feels wrong. It doesn't feel right. What do I know? Let's talk one more thing before we go to Who's a Problem. I'm going to leave this one pretty much up to you guys. Mbappe going to Real Madrid. How big of a deal? Madrid. I don't know what happened there.
Rich get richer, man.
Yeah, I said that in the group message the other day to Joe and Bob. I think it was, coming off a Champions League win, the Real Madrid, for people who don't follow, UEFA and Champions League, Real Madrid is the equivalent of the New York Yankees, basically. They have, I forget how many Champions League trophies now. I want to say, I want to say 16, but I know that can't be right. Is it? Real Madrid Champions League trophies. How many have they got? They have 15. Okay, 15. So I was off by 1. This is the rich getting richer. Mbappe is arguably still the best player, or certainly in the conversation, one of the best players on the planet Earth. And now he goes to a team that just won the Champions League. That's really all you need to hear. So this would kind of be, if for people who don't watch soccer, the equivalent to this would be if Justin Jefferson went to the Kansas City Chiefs. That would be the equivalent of what just happened here.
Pretty much.
So yes, another Ferrari for that garage and those boys to try and go and win another Champions League next year. And right before the Euro Cup. So now maybe Mbappe, hopefully, he takes the Euro Cup perhaps less seriously because now he's going to get, over to Real. So hopefully France gets bounced from the Euro Cup early, but we'll see.
Do you guys have any predictions for that, for the Euro Cup?
Yeah, I mean,
France and Germany.
France is going to be tough. Germany's going to be tough because they're the host country. So host country, really, that's going to be tough. I'm concerned about Italy. Italy will defend. They will shut teams out, but they have a real problem scoring goals right now, this national team. The under 17 team just won the Euro Cup for under 17. All the countries play their under 17 players. Italy just won the Euro Cup today for under 17, but they have some talent coming in the pipeline, but their story is the same story as always. Italy, if they can manage to get out of the group stage, they'll be tough in the knockout stage because that's kind of what they're built for because of their defense. And Donnarumma is one of the best goaltenders in the world. So they could have a shot, but I like France, Joe, like you said, and I like Germany. I do. And England, by the way, on paper, the issue I always have with England is the issue I always have with England in big tournaments is that they're major choke artists when it comes to big tournaments. So I don't trust them. They were there in the final. They should have beat Italy. They were a much better team on paper than Italy, and it didn't happen.
Shootouts.
I mean,
I will say this.
England had the lead in the first 3 minutes of that game.
I'll say this. There is no better way to win than when you win in a shootout. There's no worse way to lose.
Yeah, dude, I hate seeing a game like that go to a shootout, the final. Italy now is one. I've seen Italy win a World Cup on the final on a penalty shootout, and I've seen them win a Euro Cup on a penalty shootout.
We also watched them lose in a World Cup to Brazil
and watched them lose
skied fucking shot from Roberto Baggio. I'll never fucking forget that shit.
and
on American soil, by the way. That was in 96.
We also saw them lose in 2017 or 2016 Euro Cup to Germany in a penalty shootout. So I mean, I've seen them win him. I've seen them lose them.
Italy,
I hate them.
I feel like they do better in shootouts than most teams because
better in knockout stage. That's what I'm saying. If they
they will oftentimes play against a more offensive team and they'll just park the bus and they'll play very defensively to win for the shootout.
Here's a dark horse. Here's a dark horse team, maybe not a dark horse, but a team that you should keep an eye on too. That's very, very talented, and they made a little bit of noise in the last Euro Cup. Spain is a team, and they are in Italy's group in the group stages. They're a very
we have a tough fucking
talented team.
We got Croatia too. I mean, Albania is going to get run the hell over, but
Albania, they're not horrible though. Albania, Croatia, and Spain is a tough group.
How do you have an opinion on Albania? That's wild.
Because I know they're qualifying. I read some stuff that they're not like a doormat team.
Okay.
They said Italy. They said Italy's group is like that group is like one of the
Italy. You know what? You know what'll be sad. Italy will play their worst game against Albania. This team plays their worst soccer against the worst teams, and they play up to their opponent.
They played Turkey 2 days ago, and they drew them 0-0. That's what I'm saying. Italy.
If we draw Albania, we're fucked. If we draw Albania, we're fucked.
Oh yeah, that's the first game too. They got to beat it. They
have got to win.
They got to get 3 points against Albania. Absolutely. Because Spain's going to be tough. Spain's good.
All right, gentlemen. I have no opinions on that. I got to start watching soccer, man.
Lock into the Euro Cup. That is a perfect way to start because the Euro Cup and the World Cup and the Champions League finals is like, if you want to watch soccer at its absolute highest level, that is the ultimate. Those three things are the ultimate to watch. Now, people argue that Champions League is better because it's like the real clubs that play all the time. But the international game is like, when you see the powerhouse teams, like you get, like last Euro Cup, we had Italy play Spain and Italy play Belgium in the knockouts and Italy play England. Like that is like, that's as good as it gets, man.
And then in the World Cup,
when you get an Argentina, a Brazil,
you only get a. Well, I'm saying, but you rotate between the Euro and the World Cup. But it's like it's not something that you get every day. So when it finally comes, everybody's jazzed the hell up.
It's awesome.
Well, I always watch the World Cup. You know who I was
World
always
Cup's great.
It's great, and I don't really know what I'm watching.
Were you a big Vuvuzela guy? Was that
no?
What the Vuvuzelas?
Thierry Henry.
Thierry Henry, sure.
That
Fuck
was
him.
legend.
Fuck him. Though.
That was a fun player to watch, though.
Zinedine Zidane and Thierry
Or
Henry.
who was the dude from Drogba?
Didier Drogba from
Cote
Ghana.
d'Ivoire.
Oh,
Ivory
yeah,
Coast.
Ivory Coast. That's right.
Yeah.
Ivory
There's
Coast,
so
yeah.
what about Zlatan Ibrahimovic?
Yeah, he was a maniac.
Or what about Robin van Persie from the Dutch team?
The Netherlands,
that flying
sure.
header in the World Cup? How
and
great was
Ian
that?
Robin. They had
Arjen Robben,
they had
yeah.
some great teams, man.
Oh,
they had some great
man.
teams. I remember those England teams too, bro.
Remember Davids?
Peter Crouch, huh?
Davids from Holland, way back.
Yeah. Yes.
There's some good players.
All right, a lot of good players. But I remember I had FIFA like 13 or something, or FIFA 14,
Drogba
and
was
Drogba,
filthy.
dude,
Yeah, it was filthy. And he ran. His speed was probably like a 99.
99, dude.
Yeah.
This guy
He was like
could
a
run.
thoroughbred horse.
Yeah. You know who was like that? Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale would run like that. Like remember that one time he ran out of bounds, Joe, and made that insane play where he ran out and came back in and out sprinted everybody? Yeah. Just sick.
He kicked it off the sidelines and ran around.
That's a guy England. That's a guy England wishes wasn't Welsh and actually wishes that he was English so he could play.
Now he's busy playing golf.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, there you go.
Everybody moves on.
So
I got a problem that I'd like to start off in it.
All right, yeah, we're going to who's a problem. Why don't you kick it off?
It's tied into the Euro Cup, and the problem that I have is these new Adidas jerseys for the Euro Cup. I tell you what, they are. I went to the store the other day, Mikey. I was going to buy one of the Italian ones.
I got one. I just got the new one. Just got it.
Every single country has essentially the same jersey. It is the same setup. The crest is the same. The logo, like the logo placement, it's like a corporate style jersey that they just put on the FIFA game and they set up for everyone. The only one that broke the mold, and good for them because the jerseys are sick, are the Mexican jerseys, and obviously they're not in the Euro Cup.
Right.
So I was looking at all the Adidas jerseys, all the Euro Cup jerseys, every single country.
Really?
France. I mean, they're different colors and stuff, but it's all the same. The originality is just not there. I used to love when you had all these other teams using different, Italy used to be Diadora and Puma and Kappa. I mean, it was awesome. They always had the best kits, by the way, the track suits. I used to buy the track suits over the jersey.
Yeah, you did.
Because you get the pants and the jacket.
You did.
I mean, they were unbelievable.
I love a good tracksuit myself.
Oh my God. The Puma
of course you do.
I have the sickest 1982 vintage Adidas Italy tracksuit jacket.
White?
This thing is
it white or is it blue?
It's blue, but the sleeves that run down it, the triple Adidas sleeves are red, white, and green.
Oh
bro, it is something to behold. Yeah, I gotta wear it again.
Yeah,
this is the one.
But
this is the one you saw, Joe?
Let me see. Yeah, see how the Adidas logo's on one side and the crest. Every single jersey is like that. Yeah. I was like, come on, man. It's just so cookie cutter. I would like to have a little bit more.
I got a Federico Chiesa jersey.
Oh, yeah,
how to get one.
That's a guy who we need to play well.
Yes, we do.
All right. Well, I'll go quickly. My problem this week, and it's a good problem, is those Philadelphia Phillies, man. They're filthy. They are.
You were talking trash about them weeks ago.
Yeah, well, now they're a great problem. Now they're a wonderful problem. Okay. This team is special, man. What they're putting together right now. And we're best in baseball by half a game against the Yankees. I think we've just played one more game than you. But other than that, I mean, we're both right there. Neck and neck. No, we have one more win. We won today. Did you win today?
43-19, right? Is your record?
No, I think we're 44.
That's a nice jacket. That's a nice jacket.
That's
special. That's Kappa, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine me wearing that?
No.
See, it's just like that works for a very specific kind of person.
Yeah.
I had that jacket, man.
I thought they were 43-19, Tick, but I guess they're 44 now. But the Yankees are about to win again, so.
Oh, yeah. So I think we just already played today. That's why we're already at 44.
Yeah,
so
you guys already played and won. Yeah.
So
and the Yankees are up 9-4 in the top of the 8th against the Twins.
I tell you what, something real special is happening both in Philadelphia and New York, man.
Yeah,
the stars are aligning for us. It's like 2009 all over again, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see you there again.
Juanito. You don't want this. You don't want this.
Oh,
Tick. You don't want.
I don't think you want this team.
Oh, I'll go to war with this team. The Yankees this year, I'll go to war with them.
I'll check back in
Volpe
July.
looks really good.
Volpe and
Volpe
Verdugo and Judge and Stanton and even and obviously Soto, but you're still going to get Jason Dominguez back and Luis Hill. Luis Hill is a legitimate Cy Young contender, huh?
Is LeMahieu back yet?
Yeah, LeMahieu's been back. LeMahieu's back. Garrett Cole will be back. He just made his first start in Double-A.
Wow, so he's okay?
Yeah. He just made a first rehab.
Are you guys still trotting Giancarlo Stanton out there?
Giancarlo Stanton's
playing well.
Is he?
Well.
Okay. I haven't seen him. Really?
Yeah.
He's capable of playing well, but if you think that's going to last all year, I mean, you're sorely mistaken. He has moments. He can hit it 550 feet.
Will be here soon. Yeah, he can. Listen, it's going to be interesting. And that was actually Tick's problem was the Phillies. I was going to get a little bit more specific, and I was going to say that Aaron Judge is a problem in the best of ways.
He is.
I mean, this guy, man. This guy's month of May was. I don't have word. Like, it's preposterous, and I just feel like this guy just came out of nowhere. Just one season, they brought him up when they were real bad in the summer of 16. At the end of the year, they weren't good at all, and all of a sudden, this guy comes up and he's mashing the ball, but he's like 6'6", however tall he is. And I'm like, yeah, he can hit home runs, but I'm not sure about this. This guy is just he is so damn good.
He's
and
done
now
it for years too now, though. He's not like it's a one-off. I mean,
no, it's not.
But I'm saying sometimes you get one guy who's just hot, but like he's done it legitimately. He was better last year. I mean, he was tremendous.
Yeah, and I mean this year they're off to another historic run to start. And to Ticket's point too, the Phillies are right there, exchanging blow for blow. And you know what? It's going to be very, very interesting. It's the Phillies should. I mean, now with Acuna out for the Braves for the year, the Phillies should wrap that division up with the Mets as bad as the Mets are
horrible.
Yeah, and I mean the Nationals are terrible too. So I mean, the Phils will have that division wrapped up. The Yankees, meanwhile, they still got to deal with that Orioles team. I'm not gonna believe in the Orioles as the season goes on and on. I think eventually it'll catch up to them. Maybe not. They got the most talented minor league system and prospects, but it certainly looks like Yankees, Phillies, Dodgers. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting.
Enjoy those fills, Tick.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the Acuna thing was huge because for a while it was just about like, okay, the Braves will come back.
Right.
Let's try to get as many games ahead as we can because it's gonna. But now Acuna out, you're right. It's we got a pretty good shot at this thing.
It's your division.
It's your division. It's a tough thing for me to say, man.
I'm not saying it's your division like it's done, it's over with, but it's your division to lose now.
Yeah,
Acuna out.
Certainly. So I just don't see a way where I don't see how we couldn't win. I
agree. I agree. Unless again, you don't want to knock on wood, catastrophic injuries to multiple guys, but that's the only way.
Anytime I get confident about one of these Philly teams, man, that's why I'm so pessimistic. Is because when I let myself get confident, something always happens. Because something does always happen in that town. But anyway, let's move over to viewer questions. First one comes from Kevin Alden. What thoughts or emotions were going through Mikey's head when he met Aaron Rodgers?
Wow.
When I saw him walk in, when I was at the bar getting a drink, I was like, I just did one of those like double takes. You don't believe it at first when you see somebody like that. And then, honestly, he just made it so easy he was so approachable. I mean, I didn't even really approach him because he was walking, the space was kind of tight in there in the lounge. It wasn't a gigantic lounge. So he was walking and it was kind of just like, he's looking at people as he's walking by. So he looked at me and I'm just like, just started talking with him. And I mean, he made it so easy, extremely approachable, extremely engaging, asking me questions. And then by the end of the night, I had probably 3 separate conversations with the guy at different times because being in and out of the lounge, just a fucking cool ass fucking dude.
I'm really happy I have defended this guy on every turn because especially now with Bob, he trashed him on. I said, listen, is the guy maybe a little out there with his beliefs and stuff? Sure. He has been consistently a top tier quarterback for as long as he's played in the league. And from what I see, he's a cool fucking dude. Like the guys like to play for him. It's not like he gets into it with his players. So I'm like, he's got to be a half decent guy. So I feel really good knowing that the fact that he was as cordial and as, as nice as you guys
couldn't have been more cordial. Just a gentleman.
Wow.
Just a gentleman, bro.
Now Bob should be getting a jersey. If I was Bob,
he should.
I mean, I think there's no way where you shouldn't get a jersey.
Would you do you think that, did he know who you were and you felt like maybe he was being nice because of that? Or did he have no idea who you guys were? And you're like, wow,
he kind of knew from that. Me and Bob both had have-a-day hats on, and he knew off of the hat, kind of like what had gone on with that video, Joe, that his friend had shown him or whatever.
AT&T Classic.
Right.
Yeah, they were wearing it.
He kind of had an idea.
I think his caddy was wearing it. Was his caddy or
maybe
somebody who was in a grouping with him had to have a day hat?
But he definitely didn't know when it was just me talking to him at first. He was just being a good guy. He was just being funny. Like he was joking around off the bat. He was just, and to all the Bears fans that are bitching at me about like,
give me a break.
About how could you take a picture with this guy? You're not a real Bears fan. I said this multiple times over that I hated this guy's guts for so many years because of the fact that I knew what he was going to do to us, because I knew how great he was as a player. And of course I hated him when he was with Green Bay, but once he left Green Bay, he wasn't one of those guys who like, I just thought personally, I hated him like on a personal level, like no. And you know what? He's just proved.
By the way, why every one of those Bears fans who are bitching would have gladly taken him on their team with open arms at any point.
There's no question
in the last 5 years.
There's no question about that, bro. There's no question.
All right. Next question comes from Boston Ben. I just graduated from college and starting my first real job. Any advice?
Keep your head down, young fellow.
Yeah, you can't make CEO in a week. I see so many guys coming to work now that are younger guys. These guys want to get promoted, man. They think they should get promoted within like a year or 2 years. Like, put in your time, keep your head down, like Joe said, grind, say yes to everything they ask you to do. And I'm not saying anything that I didn't do when I first started. So it's not like I'm just, throwing shit against the wall. Say yes to everything they want you to do, and just keep your head down and keep grinding and just learn, absorb.
It's good to be ambitious, but have a realistic timeline as to when that can happen.
Yeah.
And work hard and be a good person.
Wow. Joey D, do you feel like you do those things? Or did those things?
I did. I did those things for a long time.
Yeah, Tick is on one tonight, man.
I don't know what I did.
He's on one tonight. He knows exactly what he's doing. The
truth is, when he was working at the hotel, it wasn't his first job, but like you really were. You were a really hard worker, and you kept your head down, and you took on opportunities whenever they presented themselves for you, so you could learn.
You have to.
You did
when
that.
When you go into a new job, if that's gonna listen, it's one thing. Like this guy, we don't know the story. We don't know what kind of job it is. We don't know how old he is. We don't know.
Sure.
Like we don't know if this is like the spot he wants to be for the rest of his career. If it is, and this is what you want to do, whatever profession it is, then why not just do everything you possibly can to work as hard as you can? And if you do that, you're going to show through that you have the ambition. You don't have to try and prove it to anybody because you're actually doing it. And then the opportunities are going to open for you without even you having to, seek them out as much, So just, I agree with Joe. Just keep your fucking head down. Press on.
All right. Next question. We'll do two more. Next one comes from Hasten Watson. Would Joey D rather hang up golf or have a pissed off Jet MC his wedding?
Give me fucking Jet every fucking day of the week, man.
Pissed off Jet is great, Jet.
A pissed off Jet MCing your wedding?
Listen, dude.
That's a big day to gamble on a pissed off Jet.
To give up golf for the rest of my life. Golf is everything. It's my livelihood. It's my hobby. It's now I don't excel at it, but it's something that I will cherish into the wee hours of my life. Like I will cherish the game of golf for as long as I live. Give that up over one pissed off fucking MC
on one of the biggest days of your life. This guy could get up there and say, fuck all this, love's not real. Like, I mean, this guy could
Love's
ruin the
not
thing.
real.
What.
He could go Adam Sandler wedding singer on your
He could.
entire wedding. And
He
just
really
Tell you
could.
something. Jet knows a little something about love. He's got a +1 coming to this wedding.
Wow.
There you go.
He sure does. Does.
That could be private information that Jet doesn't want getting out there. So I have nothing to do with that.
Well, the good news is he doesn't listen very often to
That's
Sportsmen.
true.
So
He
he won't know what I said.
Yeah,
So you
that's
know
true.
what? We'll keep it moving.
Imagine if he texts you tomorrow night. He's like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
I'm not sharing any confidential shit. But I will tell you, if he started spewing some kind of shit like that, I'd have one of those big hooks like they had in the old days,
Sure.
and I'd just rip him off the stage.
That's why that's my job, the MC job. That's why
I think this guy
is
is going to be blown away and be in such a great mood when he sees the spread that Joey D is working on. That's going to be the food.
Who's
There's
that,
going to
Jet?
be. Yeah, I think he's going to be
Jet's
blown
just
away.
gonna have. I think Jet's gonna have a great time. I personally, I think he's gonna have a lot of
wedding. It's a wedding.
When Jet is committed to going out and getting after it, and there's not a lot of times that happens. Mikey, you saw in Scottsdale.
Oh,
I mean, that was. I don't need him to have that much fun. But I will say, I don't need to have that much fun.
I tell you what, I do. I need to see that again.
Oh, well, we don't need clean up on aisle 3. But I will say that when he does commit to having fun, like he gets after it. He's great to be around. It's true.
You have to drag him out, and he doesn't think he's going to have a good time.
But
then when he does,
a wedding is one he'll be up and ready for. He'll be ready to go.
It really does depend. But once he gets there, I agree. I think he's going to love it. But like leading up to it, it really just depends on what's going on that minute.
Sure.
How many people you got coming to this thing, by the way?
About 170 something.
Oh my word. Mikey, how many people were at your wedding?
300.
Oh my word.
Yeah, we have a quote unquote small wedding in terms of Italian weddings. Normally it's like 300 to 400 people.
Holy shit. Was all of New Jersey invited, Mikey? That's crazy. No. 300? My God.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. I don't even know 300 people.
Well, when you're Italian, your mother wants you to invite some fucking aunt that you never fucking heard of, some cousin from fucking.
There's
East
people
Jabib
saying hi to you that you don't even know who they are.
Bro, so many people came up to me in my wedding. I'm like, I'll never see you ever again.
That sounds like a nightmare, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, it's your way. Who gives a shit? You're just going around eating and drinking. You know what I mean? Fuck it.
Sure, I guess so. I would pay a lot of money to be able to go back in time and be at that wedding. I bet it was a fucking blast.
My wedding?
Yeah.
Oh, great time, man. Great time, man.
I bet you threw a fucking party.
Champagne was flowing.
Really was. Hotel?
Huh?
Did you do it at a hotel?
No, we did it at this venue called the Venetian in New Jersey.
Well, that sounds high class.
Beautiful
nice spot.
Beautiful venue. Beautiful.
Damn.
It was great. It was a picturesque wedding. It was good. My wife, she deserved it. She deserved it.
Hey, you both deserved it.
I mean, for me, I could,
you both deserved it.
Everything I do is for her. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
For her and the kids. For her and the kids.
This is one where he hopes that Holly
Mr. Anderson, clip that and send it to me. Would you? Thank you. Thank you.
All right, let's do one more. This one comes from Andrew Resinger. Rank your top 3 best outdoor sports or games you played as a kid before cell phones.
Okay.
How about hide and go seek? Is it like sports?
Yeah, that's a game.
Games?
He said
games or sports. It doesn't matter.
Hide and go seek. Basketball outdoor.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably go touch football.
Sure.
Man, hide and seek making the top.
That's
3.
going way back there, man. That's way back there.
I'll take Manhunt. Manhunt.
Manhunt was
what
a blast from I haven't even thought about that.
Manhunt. Stickball. I mean, I played stickball. I mean,
What about kick the can? You guys ever played kick the can?
No, I never played. Kick the can was before my time.
I'm the same age as you, Mikey.
I know, but Joe, that was even like nobody played kick the can when I was a kid. Nobody.
Didn't people in the 50s play kick the
Yeah.
Well, every time I
Sometimes-
went back to Green Bay, we would play kick the can. It would be like a huge game. There's so many cousins. You'd have like 20 people playing. It was fucking epic.
Yeah, so manhunt, stickball, and then
Stickball.
stickball was great, man. Stickball was great. And then yeah, I would say like we would play like tackle football. We would call it touch, but it always turned into like tackle football. So yeah, those were great. Those pickup football games were like some of the best times ever.
What about yours, Tick?
I gotta go with Manhunt, man. That's a
What is
throwback,
Manhunt? I
dude.
never played that.
Oh, forget it. You could die in a game of Manhunt.
You
as a
sure
kid.
could.
A lot of
You
kids
sure
went
could.
missing during Manhunt.
I wouldn't want to play Manhunt with a guy like you, Mike.
Why is that?
It's you would destroy me and my friends. Like you would own that group of
I don't
Manhunt.
know, dog. I don't know.
Are you fast? You seem kind of fast.
I mean, I was probably faster when I was that age.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll go with Manhunt. I'll go with wiffle ball. I like wiffle ball. a lot.
Wiffle
tremendous.
ball.
Yeah, and then I'll
Wow.
go, and then you
you-
just can't beat basketball.
Yeah, basketball was great. When you played wiffle ball, did you like alter the bats? Because like that was a big thing for when
What do
I
you,
was
what do you
young.
mean by altering the
So
bats?
like we would cork the wiffle ball bats. We would like cut out the top of the wiffle ball bat, stuff
Oh,
wet
yeah.
newspaper in it, and then wrap it in like duct tape, electrical tape,
Mhm.
and just make like these clubs, bro. And if you hit the ball, like you got to be careful playing like the infield. You can get killed.
Yeah,
wild.
we didn't stuff it with that, but we did stuff some of the bats to
Yeah,
give
yeah.
it a little weight.
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those are my three. And then basketball. I mean, you can't beat that.
basketball's great.
Yeah. All right, boys. That's another good one, another fun one. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube and to the Instagram. Fire your questions over there. Mr. Anderson will read those and send them on over to us, and we will have them on the show. But until next week, guys, Joey D, Mikey V, myself, Neil Arnett. Till next time.